Hey guys, Trev from the Struggling Artist Podcast, and I want to talk to you real quick about Struggling Artist Record Club. The Struggling Artist Record Club is a vinyl record subscription service where I hunt and curate the best punk and punk-adjacent music out there and mail their record to your door each and every month. Imagine finding your new favorite band from across the country without ever having to leave the house. It doesn't get much better than that. The excitement of discovering new music just got that much easier. As a member of the Struggling Artist Record Club, you are going to receive some of the best music you've ever heard from bands you may never even heard of. Whether you've been collecting records for years or just starting out, the Struggling Artist Record Club is designed specifically for you. And right now, all new members get a Struggling Artist Record Club exclusive along with the monthly selection. So head to StrugglingArtistRecordClub.com, pick a membership, and start building that collection today.
You're listening to the Struggling Artist Podcast.
People need to be entertained. They need the distraction.
With your host, Trev Allen.
I wish to God that somebody would do something to block out the voices in my head for 5 minutes.
Everybody, Jordan from Hell Beach has returned to talk about the new album Beachworld, which is out now. It dropped on Friday. Stay tuned to the end of the episode to hear a song off of Beachworld. This is episode 277 of the Struggling Artist Podcast, struggling with the return of Hell Beach. Something pretty drastic for both to not record. You know what I mean?
Yeah. At that point, it's just not meant to be.
Yeah.
Just dump it.
That's a good way to think about it, man.
Yeah, that's a sign.
Hey, Jordan, man, thanks for coming back on the podcast to talk about more Hell Beach, man. And we get you got an album coming out. We're gonna talk about some videos. I'm excited because after I heard Fit's Okay, I was like, I need more of this. You know, we talked about that the first time when you were on. To have a full length that's coming out, that's amazing. And break that down. Like, how long were these songs you were writing prior to I don't know, inception of the band? Or
yeah, first of all, I appreciate you having me back.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, some of the songs have been around for a while, and some of them are really, really new. So stuff like Meltdown has been actually Meltdown might have been the first song I ever wrote, and then was like, I'm going to start a new band. I think I wrote that first part of the song, and I was like, this I'm going to do this for like a different project because I was in a band at the time. But that was like right at the beginning of the pandemic. So that was the first song. So that one's old, and that one was not on the EP. That one's coming out. That one came out on the record that came out a few days ago.
Yeah.
But then other songs like 222, we demoed like 2 days before we went to New York and recorded in the studio just to have like an extra song. And it ended up making the cut. And some of the older songs, actually a really old song, didn't make the cut. So it's like, 222 must have been written in like January, maybe in December of 2023, and Meltdown was like, maybe April 2020.
I gotta ask you, and it's one of my favorite songs, "Gory Days."
Yeah.
When I saw you guys at, I'm trying to remember the day.
Faces.
It was at Faces. Yeah. Did you play that there? Because when I heard it, I'm like, this sounds so familiar to me.
That was the first time we played it.
Oh, cool.
And we messed up there was this build up, and I went into the next part too early, but it happens. But yeah, that was our first time ever playing it. So I think we're allowed one screw up there.
Oh, of course. And it's the first time. It's, that's where you
But we did play it. That's funny that you remembered that.
Yeah, no, I did. I remember hearing the song and I was like, oh, this song. And I was like, I've heard this. Wait. And then I was thinking about that show. By the way, I want to just kind of sidebar about to that show. That was an awesome show. And you all are hell of performers. Like easily like you're in my top 5 around New England for bands.
Oh man, that's so nice.
It's crazy. So like, you have this thing and I've seen it with Aria Rad of Coffin Salesman has it, and like Mike Terry of the Jukebox Romantics have it. Like you guys, you look possessed when you're playing, and it's just like
that's awesome.
And it's just like whoa, like you're so keyed, like honed into what you're doing. You know what I mean? And like for me, a live performance is more about like that, like how you got like stage presence and stuff like that. And yeah, you got it. It was awesome. To see you all play was just phenomenal for me. I was pumped. My buddy who came with me was like, whoa, because I don't even think he'd heard you guys at that point, and I brought him along.
Yeah, I think I met him at the bar for like real quick.
Yeah. So like I was really excited to see you all, and I was pumped that I was sitting at the bar. I'm like, is that Jordan?
You know what's funny? Because Brendan had noticed you first, and he was sitting next to me, and he kind of leaned in. He was like, I think that's Trevor. I was like, I don't know. I never met him in person.
Yeah.
Or at least if we have, it was probably a really long time ago.
Yeah, I'm just a gigantic human being, so it's hard to miss, you know. So yeah, I know that was a really good show. I was, like I said, I'm
trying to remember who played besides us.
It was you, KCUF.
Oh yeah.
And
yes.
And who was the other band? Oh man.
Were they on tour? Someone was probably on tour.
You know
or
what?
something.
I have something around here. I keep a notebook now of like all the shows I go to because I keep forgetting who I see with who. But,
yeah.
But now
because we played there a couple times, and now I get mixed up. I think we played there maybe 3 times, and it's hard for me to remember which one is which. Besides, our first show was there.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be at Charlie's, and it was like the first show that like didn't happen. When Charlie stopped doing shows.
Yeah.
But luckily it got moved to Faces, which we really wanted to play at anyway.
Oh, that's my favorite. I live out by Worcester, so it's a long drive.
Yeah.
And so I got to really like, all right, Trev, don't drink like more than 2 beers because those beers are strong.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, those aren't just regular beers.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a nice spot. Yeah. Ryan's awesome.
It was awesome. Yeah, it was a good time.
Everybody who works there, Bob is really cool. Everybody there is really cool.
Was In the Meantime, was that show or no?
I don't think so. No,
I don't know.
I could easily look on our Instagram.
Yeah, I know. I could
really want to know.
I could find the book. The problem I have a notebook so I can so I don't forget the shows I go to, but I forget where I put it.
You lost it. Yeah. You need a backup notepad that says where you put your
Post-it notes all over my house. It's gonna look like a true crime, like I'm trying to investigate a crime or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I kind of want to talk about Beachworld, man.
Yeah.
I loved when on Instagram you'd put what should we call our LP or whatever, you know? It's cool. I like when people like kind of just interact. You know, you just interact with the people who love your music and you know get their input on things. That's a cool thing. I think that's one of the benefits of social media. It doesn't have many benefits. Social media does, but that's one of them, you know.
It's like it is fun to like I fell off from it a little bit, but I was doing like a lot of polls and stuff like that, and like just like really silly like this or that kind of stuff. And it's like it is fun because you do interact with a lot of people. And then the other thing is you're also just playing like the evil algorithm game. Like if you do stuff like that, if you do polls and if you do interactive stuff on your story on Instagram and stuff, like way more people will see it. Like if I put one of those things in our story, it'll get like hundreds more views. So it's like you're playing that stupid game, but it's okay because it's also a way that you can like interact with people and like talk to people.
Yeah. You do those a lot, like questions and like, yeah. I try to participate whenever I see them. Actually, they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're pretty fun. Yeah, you can pick like I don't know, like the food ones and the drink ones. Like those ones are so easy to do, and everybody wants to jump in because it takes 2 seconds to be like, oh yeah, this definitely Coca-Cola over Pepsi or whatever. I don't think we've ever done anything that basic, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, for sure. So all right, so you did you record the whole album in New York?
No, so we recorded Do you know Bobby Edge? You know Bobby Edge.
I do know Bobby Edge. I was going to bring him up.
Jukebox.
Yeah.
So we went up to Nada Recordings. That's in Montgomery, New York, kind of like middle of nowhere type of New York. And we recorded drums. So we went up 2 different weekends. We went up the first weekend. We recorded all the drums, and then we recorded bass the next day. And then we went home. We went back a couple weeks later, and we did all of the lead vocals. Took a long time, like doubled everything, all that stuff. And then we did some of the backup vocals that day too. But then we went home. Brendan, who's in Hell Beach, but he also is audio engineer for Stabby Cat recording.
Okay.
And so we did all the guitars with Brendan. We did all of the synth stuff with Brendan, and we did like a lot of vocals, like a lot of backup vocals. There's tons and tons of vocal harmonies on the album. So the gang vocals, we did like little acoustic guitar, tambourine, claps, like all types of like extra shit we did after the fact. But we wanted the drums and the vocals to sound really good, so we did them at like a pretty pro. I mean, honestly, a very pro studio. Which is not a recordings. But the trouble about recording with Brendan is because right now we just do it at our practice space. And if there's a really loud band right next to us, which there is half the time, you can't record vocals. You can't record a lot of stuff. So it's kind of tricky, but Brendan does a really good job. So we're blessed to have him at our disposal.
Yeah. I did an episode of this podcast at someone's practice space, and like, I mean, by the end of it, you could just hear the other band. They were like, the other band was kind of like messing around in the room next to us, and then by the time we were ending, like they were gearing up, and it was you could hear like they were playing Led Zeppelin or something. Yeah, I was like, ugh.
Yeah, that's what it always is too. They're always playing like a Foo Fighters cover or some shit. Like it's never just like they're like playing anything that's like, oh yeah, this will work. Like some weird ambient music in the background. Yeah, it's all like.
So how was it?
Like while you're trying to record.
How was it working with Bobby? I feel like y'all are a match made in heaven with what he's got going on with his music too. So he's, you know what I mean? He's got a real knack for like the little like surf style, you know? So how was it working with him?
It was great. I had met him. I didn't even realize it until I saw him in Asbury Park, but he came to see us in Asbury Park, and that was only a couple weeks before we went to record with him. And we, within like 5 seconds of talking, we're like, oh yeah, we've met before, because I've been in bands that played with Jukebox Romantics. I just didn't realize that he was in that band. Yeah. So it was really cool. He was like super excited to work on it. He's really into the vocals. I think, it seems to be kind of something that he specializes in. So yeah, he was like super cool, and it's just like extremely nice. So we hung out all weekend, both weekends, and had a good time. We went out, to eat after each night and stuff like that. He had a stay on his couch. So just super duper nice.
That's awesome.
A lot of fun.
Yeah. So I think I had him on. We did an artist spotlight for his EP. And like, I think afterwards I was like, hey, I seen you were working with Hell Beach, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, oh, they're so good. Like nothing but praises from Bobby,
Yeah. He was very into it. And that was cool. Cause that gets us pumped up too. When someone believes in the songs and all that stuff, I think it brings out good energy. But, I like what he's doing. And he did like a pretty big tour, didn't he?
Yeah,
right? Last year or this year?
This past year, yeah. He went out for, I want to say almost a month, like just touring. Yeah. So, and it was right before his new EP dropped too. So, yeah, he's a great guy, and he's like a sweetheart. You know what I mean? Like he's just the nicest dude. So, but yeah, I'm glad. It was cool because like I always think about all the bands that I talked to that I like, and and like I thought of like Hell Beach playing on the same bill as like Bobby Edge at one point, because it's just like it's like it would fit well, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll probably one day.
Yeah, I'm
probably
sure.
happen
I'm
if he's in Boston or Manchester, something like that. I it would be almost weird if we didn't play together.
Yeah. I want to. So something too. I'm going to go back to the show. You all sound just as good live. Like it was almost like listening to a recording. You guys sound Like sometimes bands kind of like there's a big difference between the two. You're real close to the same sound as you do on the on like the recording. So that's to me that's a huge plus. I don't know like what you have to do to manage something like that to make sure, because I feel like there's got to be some kind of technique to it, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think different bands I think do it differently, but especially for us, it was like the songs aren't that old, and I think that's part of it, where it's like we just demoed and recorded them last summer. I think when you're in a band that's been a band for like 10 years and you play something from like your early stuff, it's like you've been playing it for so long, you're going to make little changes to things over time. The vocal melodies change a little bit over time, I think. And I think some people do like that. We're like, oh, that's cool. Like that's an interesting way that they do it live. But it is nice when you know a song and you want to hear a song and it just sounds the way that you know it, but way fucking louder.
Yeah.
I think that I think there's positive aspects, I think, to both ways, like hearing an interesting live version or just hearing it the way you just are used to hearing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, do you do any like vocal warm ups or anything? Cause like you belt out a tune and like, I feel like if you went on tour, you're going to lose your voice after day one.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, no, I do vocal warm ups. I don't always do them. I should always do them. For a while we were like really into it, every single show, me, Megan, and Brendan, and sometimes even KB, even though he didn't have to, would just like go sit in the car, and we have like certain videos that we do on YouTube, like vocal warm up videos, and it helps a lot. But even when we go out for like 3 days or whatever, we did like 3 days back in January, and I did vocal warm ups every day. And right before that, I think I had just gotten over a cold or something, so I was so worried about it. But I just drank a lot of tea. I did vocal warm ups. I tried to like rest my voice and stuff, because KB mentioned something that I had never even thought of before, that it's like you really ruin your voice when you're not on stage. Like when another band is playing and you're selling merch or whatever, and you're yelling over the table and you're talking to people really loud all night and you're drinking, it's drying out your voice. So it's like, you wake up that next day and it's like, man, I really blew my voice on stage. Like, well, you might have just blew it like yelling into people's ears.
Yeah. I never thought about that. Yeah, that's a good one.
Me either, which is weird. But he was like, yeah, you should take it easy with that. And I was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But it turned out to be fine. I every night when that first song started, I was just like, I don't know how this is going to be. But it turned out okay. Maybe 4, 5, 6 nights in a row, maybe then I'd start to lose it. But I also like to use honey. I'll usually have like a big gross gulp of honey right before we go on stage. And that seems to help.
I've actually, to be honest, like, so I get really bad. I have allergies year round and it sucks.
Yeah.
And like doing the podcast, I'm talking a hell of a lot more than I'm used to. Right. So like for years I just worked I worked alone and stuff. So I didn't really like talk. Like, it sounds stupid, but getting into like doing the podcast and I'm doing it so often, we release an episode every week, sometimes twice a week. And like, I noticed like, especially with my allergies and stuff, my voice will start to go. And the moment I feel anything, I just start drinking tea with honey, and like, and it's, I never really like believed the hype until I started doing it. I'm like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Now I can't sing. You don't want to hear this, but like just from talking, like because like there's been times on the podcast and it's almost the same time every year in the winter where like, I can
super
barely
dry.
talk. Yeah, I can barely talk, and I don't sound the same because I'm like all, you know what I mean? It's all, but yeah, the tea. I've noticed over this past winter, I used the tea with honey trick, and it worked wonders for me. You know what I mean? So I can definitely see how like doing a gulp of honey is just gonna. All right, let's get out there. Yeah, it'll be like the lemon ginger tea. They also make like throat coat. I haven't had great experiences singing with throat coat. I don't know if it works for me, but a lot of singers, a lot of vocalists, we use that. Have you ever had throat coat tea? Is that like does it like numb it?
Doesn't numb it, but it's like slippery elm. It almost tastes like licorice flavored. So I don't know if a lot of people don't like that kind of flavor, but I think that it's good. And it's great when your voice is starting, because I work for a college and I work in admissions and I talk on the phone all day. So it's like sometimes I'll talk, I'll take so many calls. It's the same thing, like especially the day after a show, like my voice is like totally giving out, and there's like only so much you can do once you get to that point.
I might have to look into that too. Yeah, because it's just, especially like I said, when I'm getting sick, that's when I really need it, because I'm still recording episodes. You know what I mean? I can't like unless I have enough in the tank, which sometimes I do, and I'm like, all right, I got enough to get me through the next couple weeks. But like, typically, I'm trying to be as like close as possible, So so I don't know. I see how like and again, like you're just like your stage presence is just really big too. So that's why I was asking, like, do you do vocal? Because like I said, you sing very, very loud. It's good.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But yeah, it's like it really kills your entire thing. Like if you can't sing the way you're supposed to, you know what I mean? Like if I couldn't sing, if my voice was, thrown out or whatever, like everything would go out the window. Like I feel like the rest of the stage presence would too, because you just lose that confidence. But because for me, I always think this when people are like saying something nice like you are about my stage presence or our stage presence, is that it's like the only way that I can do it without feeling super weird and uncomfortable. Like I don't have that thing where people can go and play like at a patio somewhere, like at a restaurant, and they can like talk to people in between, do crowd work and like make jokes and stuff. Like that's not me at all. So it's like I have to kind of go into that possessed mode, like you said, and just go like 100% the whole time. Otherwise, I'm gonna feel super awkward or like super uncomfortable. So that's just like part of it's like a just going into survival mode up there.
And the band, you guys are in sync too. Like you're very, you know what I'm saying? Like everyone's vibing off each other with this, it's one of those things. That's a special talent, I think. Like, because anybody can get through a show, but like you're saying, like you just go 100% the whole time because that's what you do. And like, that's a special talent. And I don't know if that was like, because you played with some of the band before and everything, but like I just to find the right people to do that all the time. That's kudos.
Thank you. Yeah, that's true. Because if you're doing that, but then like, your bandmate is like just not gonna they're not gonna go into that same place, then it could be a weird clash. But yeah, me and Brendan and KB have been in a band for a long time, and then Megan jumped right in and like they understood the assignment. No issues there.
And Megan, was that a keytar that they played?
They play guitar.
That was awesome. Like I need to know like the logistics of that. Like, is it different than playing? Like if you're just playing a keyboard, you know what I'm saying? Because you have to hold it differently and like.
Oh yeah. It definitely is. We've kind of seen them go through the learning curve there, because we played our first show at Faces, and they had a regular keyboard on a stand, and they had like in-ears that were like on a wire, like so they really couldn't move at all. They were like really stuck there.
Yeah,
and
anchored.
Anchored. And right after we got off stage, we were hanging out by the merch table, and I like looked over their shoulder, and they were already on their phone looking at guitars.
That's
first show.
Awesome. Yeah.
And they ordered it like right off the bat. And they said it's gigantic. The thing is really, really huge.
Oh yeah.
And it's heavy. And you got to play it a lot different than you would play a regular keyboard or a piano. So they've gotten a lot better. I think that they just have a lot more freedom with that. And everybody loves the guitar.
Yeah.
Every single show, everyone comes up to us. They're like, "I love the guitar."
Oh yeah. When you have something like that, like because it's gonna stand out, right? It's gonna stand out. There's a band out of Germany called Doping the Void, and they're very much like a punk rock and roll, but they have a trumpet player. So like they have to explain they're not ska because it's not ska. But the trumpet player has a rig, and he plays two of them at once in some songs.
Wow. So that must take a lot of lung power.
Yeah. So like the band is always like, oh, that's great, because everyone's going to flock to that person, not them. You know what I mean? If they just want to hang out, So it's
right.
That's wild. So yeah, the guitar was great. Going back to Beachworld. So I want to say 222. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's like, is it the guitar in that, or do I hear like an organ in the beginning?
If there's organ in it, then it's still. I mean, we don't always record on the guitar. Megan does have other keyboards that they use, But yeah, honestly, I don't even know which one it is.
I don't know.
There is Organ in Poison Mind.
Oh, maybe it was Poison Mind because that's the next track, I believe.
In the intro, yeah, it's like a heavy intro, but then there's like churchy sounding evil organs.
That's what I'm thinking of. I'm sorry. Yep.
That is. It used to be really loud. Like when we first did the demo, it was super loud, and I actually really liked it that loud because it's like the first few seconds sounds really heavy, and then it comes in with that huge organ. You're like, okay, no, this is actually something weird. This isn't just like a regular like hardcore song. But then of course once the chorus comes in, it's it's just regular poppy Hellbeach stuff. But yeah, I do love that organ sound. Yeah. And I remember Megan saying specifically that they wanted it to sound evil, and I think that came through.
Hell of a job. Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, so I don't want to talk about all the tracks only because I want people to go listen to it first. You know what I mean? So because the album had just released. But let's start with the videos because you have some videos out, and then from there I'll just throw you like the three tracks that I'm not going to say they're my favorite, but they stuck out probably the most for me. Cool. In the last listening that I had, you know what I mean? Because like I said, it's an 11 track album. It's just shy of 30 minutes. It is solid. Yep. Every song is solid. Like, thank you. This is. Like you're in contender for one of my favorites of 2024. So
hell yeah,
yeah,
that rules. Thank you.
Of course, but yeah. So let's get into let's talk about the videos first. The first one that dropped was Poison Mind, right?
Yeah, Poison Mind is the first one. So we had been talking about wanting to do a sort of just like a regular like show type of video, just because they're relatively easy as long as you can get people to show up. So we just had as many of our friends show up as possible, and we did it at World's End, which is I guess you could say a former basement venue in Manchester. They're not really doing shows right now, but we had played there a couple times. I've been there many times, and we're friends with the folks who live there. And it was the perfect place to do it. I'm so glad that they agreed to do it because they hadn't really done anything in a while. But we just invited a bunch of people over. I think it was like a Sunday night. So it was like sketchy whether it's like, are people going to come? Because the whole thing would have been a disaster otherwise. Like you invite all these people and of course everyone's like, oh yeah, I'll be there. But then you really don't know until that day if they're really going to show up. Yeah. But the really great thing about that video and really all the videos is that we're really just doing them all ourselves. So Brendan's fiance Kat and my girlfriend Kelly just did all the camera stuff for the Poison Mind video, and then Megan edited everything. So it's like we just kind of did the whole thing internally, which I'm really proud of. But it was a super fun time. We ordered pizza. We bought like beer and seltzer, and everyone just like hung out, and awesome. They learned we sent the song out to everybody ahead of time, and everyone just showed up and sang along and danced and kind of partied it up, and that's it. That's all you really need. That's cool. If you don't know what to do to make a music video, just buy some pizza, buy some beer, invite all your friends, and it will just work itself out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Just turn the cameras on and record.
Hell yeah. And so like was there a lot of, so I've like done a little bit of video work in my day. Does everyone like kind of like play with that too? Is that how like or was this kind of like a first time thing for everybody, or?
We've done, so I did something like this in an old band. And the scariest thing was like, okay, it worked 7 years ago because I knew enough people, but I'm like, do I still have enough friends to do it now?
Right.
People move away, people are busy, people have kids, all that. But yeah, so me, Brendan, and KB had done something very similar in our old band, and then I don't know if Megan had done this exact thing before, but they did step in to like direct it. So like they definitely weren't shy about it. So they kind of called the shots that day. Cool. And it worked out, and we just played along to the song. We like blasted the song over the PA speakers and just played it like, I don't know, 10 times. Yeah. Just got different shots.
That can be tiring.
It was, because I also like didn't want to pretend to sing. So I was like really singing it. And if you've seen the video, it's like I'm just as sweaty and like gasping for air as I would be on stage, because I was really, really playing and really singing the whole time, even though my microphone wasn't even on.
Yeah. So I did a film project once, and unfortunately the cut that I'm in got scrapped and they had to reshoot it. But there was a big scene at a dinner table, like during lunch. So like we have lighting coming in through like a window to make it look like daytime the whole time, and like They didn't have, oh man, it was so bad. It was hot. It was down in Tennessee. So it was like hot. And like, I had to like take a bite of this sandwich and it's just like Wonder Bread and lettuce. Right. But like, but it's been sitting out all day. So it's like, it was so gross.
Stale.
At least the guy next to me, like he kept having to drink milk. Luckily they kept giving him a new milk for each take, but I was like, okay, that's a lot. Like, you know what I mean?
That is, yeah.
So when I've heard, it was like an 8-hour thing. And then when we were done, we go outside, it's pitch black, but in the kitchen, in the dining room, we thought it was still like 1 PM. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, it was crazy.
Because of the lighting.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. Yeah. It tricks your brain a little bit.
Yeah.
I've heard about actors like they have like a bucket like just off camera where they take a bite, they chew it up, they spit it out.
Yeah, I made them do. I'm like, you gotta have to do this to me, and then it gave me like the worst heartburn ever the next day. Like I had this just bleach white
lettuce and bread.
Yeah, Wonder Bread. Like oh man, it was terrible. It was a lot of fun though. I had a blast. Like I learned a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and we just sat at a table, right? So we're just sitting at a table throughout this like 8-hour session. And, they let us get up and walk around and stuff, but like, I was tired after the end. So I can't imagine playing a song, like whether or not you're actually doing it, you're making the movements and you're playing your ass off, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And like just having to do that like a bunch of times, that'd be repetition. That's just like, woof.
and it's not that different than playing a set normally, but I think there's almost like it's almost more like mentally exhausting because you're trying to make sure you're not screwing anything up and you want the video to come out good. And also just like the social battery definitely dies by the end of it. It's like you're in a room with like a lot of people and you're trying to keep everyone happy because they're there doing you a really big favor by making this happen. So you're like trying to talk to everybody and stuff like that. And some people got a little hammered at the video shoot. So, they took up some extra time talking to you after we were done filming. But it was at the end of the day, it was so fun. I'm so like grateful to everybody who helped make it happen and who showed up and who like learned the song ahead of time and the words. Like that's crazy. Yeah. Once we started playing it and I saw everyone actually singing, I'm like, okay, cool, this is gonna work.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's like that goes back to what I'm always talking about with like community, like the difference between a scene and community. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So. Absolutely. Yeah. It was very cool, and every single time like people come together to do that kind of thing to help us out. It's like very, very, just like something that I appreciate very much.
All right. So then the next video that dropped was Weekend Crush. Yeah. And that one was a much different approach, right?
Yeah. It was. So that one, we were really supposed to have way more footage to work with. So like we had gone down to Brooklyn to play a show, and the idea was that we would record like the trip down to Brooklyn, all the stuff surrounding the show, like hanging out, doing whatever. And then the next weekend we were going to Montreal to play Pooza Fest. So then we were going to record that weekend as well, like 2 cameras, record the whole, the road trip, like, the stops, like all that stuff that makes like a really easy, like B-roll type music video. But we ended up not recording anything in New York. So, and then when we went to Montreal, we only had 1 camera. Mm-hmm. So it was like, all we really had was like hanging out at the Airbnb. We were walking around town. We had some footage from the show. We got tattoos while we were there. We had some footage of that, but it was like, it was enough to take all that and like make it into something that was still interesting to watch. And for me, I just like to watch it because it's like a nice little recap of like the weekend. It was like, oh, that was Pooza. And, we didn't get to like bring the camera into like venues and like film other bands, like film, everything that went on. But like our own little experience was kind of captured in that video. So that was really cool. So it's really just B-roll footage and a little bit of live footage.
That's awesome. That's like a montage of just like a memory, right?
Yeah. I wish that we could have more in there, but still just having those little parts of it. It's like, it'll be really cool just to look back on that video. It's the first time playing outside of the United States, first time playing Pooza. So it was really cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, have you played Pooza before with like your other band or no?
We were supposed to, but we were supposed to play in 2020. Right, and that would have been May 2020. So that Pooza Fest didn't happen. And then I think by the following year, I think that we just weren't even a band anymore. So it was like we missed that one shot. And the same thing happened with Fest.
I was going to say the same thing happened. I remember you guys were supposed to play Fest, and then You know?
Yeah, we played it once.
Yeah.
But then we were supposed to play it the following. Yeah, we played 2019. We were supposed to play 2020. That one didn't happen. It did happen the next year, but one of us got sick, like literally right before.
Yeah.
So we didn't end up going, and then we broke up after that. That was actually going to be our last show, I think.
Yeah, I remember that. I that was a big deal on social media with the with the little like tombstone, and you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, it was that, and then we were supposed to play another last show after that got canned, and that was with Rebuilder at their they would do that annual New Year's Eve thing.
Yep.
So we're like, all right, this would be a cool occasion to do it. And then that whole show got canceled because that winter everything got really bad again with COVID and stuff.
Yeah.
So that didn't happen. And then we finally played a final show with that band in June of 22.
That's right.
With Kill Lincoln and Jer.
Did Franklin Siplis play with you guys on that show?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
He played bass.
Yeah. He's like a mercenary. He could do anything.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. That dude's awesome.
I love him.
Yeah. He's been a huge Hell Beach supporter since day one because I knew that he was a huge Green Day fan. And so am I. So we're both really nerdy about Green Day. And I was like, if you like Green Day, you're going to like Sensory Overlord. If you like Green Day, you like 222. So I've been sending him demos from the beginning.
Oh, awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So you have one more video, right, for Meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was more like Poison Mind, where you got everyone together?
This one was more like Weekend Crush, but it's a little different. So it's still a lot of kind of I guess you could say B-roll footage of we were hanging out at the beach. We got but we also did some intentional stuff of us singing the lyrics and things like that. It was more specific to the song, where Weekend Crush was really just all B-roll footage. But yeah, so Meltdown, we were at the beach all day, and we went to the arcade. We did a bunch of stuff there. We went out on the sand and recorded stuff down at the beach. So that was a lot of fun. It was a Wednesday. So it was a tough day to get everyone over there to do it, but it was also great because there wasn't a lot of people.
I was going to say, yeah, Wednesday, a beach day. Wednesday, unless it's 4th of July, isn't usually a good beach day. So or a busy beach day. Yeah.
Right. It wasn't busy, but also a lot of stuff on the boardwalk was closed. So we were going to stop and do other stuff, but whatever. We got beach pizza and we got ice cream, and we were like, this will make a video. So we're really trying to keep it simple. You know what I mean? Because you can really go down the rabbit hole with let's make a video that's really ambitious. We're going to do all these props. We have to spend all this money. We're going to need a shit ton of people to make it work. And we just knew that we wouldn't be able to do 3 videos in one summer if we did it like that. So we have to do realistic stuff. And I think that we were able to do some really fun videos all internally.
That's awesome.
KB's editing KB edited Weekend Crush. Kat and Brendan edited Meltdown, so it's just all within the band and within our immediate circle.
That's awesome. All right, so like I said, I'm gonna ramble off a few songs that I was listening. Sure. The last time I listened to it, I've listened to it about 10 times since you sent it to me. And
since I sent it to you, 4 days ago?
Yeah. I just I like to soak it all in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I appreciate that.
Yeah, Poison Mind is definitely a song that just really stuck out to me. And then SOTC.
Yep, that stands for Skin on the Concrete.
Skin on the Concrete. Yep. And then Gory Days. Those 3 songs, I was just huh. And as I listened to the whole album, there's this thing about I don't know if it's that little surf aspect that you guys have in this, but it so I mean lyrically some of these are pretty sad songs. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. Right.
But when you present them with that surf rock undertone and the punk rock added to it, it almost it not that it makes it okay, but it makes it it's a little easier to take. You know what I'm saying? From an emotional standpoint, Right.
It doesn't feel so heavy, yeah, as whether maybe you were just reading the lyrics. But yeah, some of it's a little dark. And it's I like that kind of combination, I think, because I've never been someone to write really moody songs instrumentally or anything like that. So for me, it's I always kind of write relatively poppy stuff, but the thing I like about the kind of the style that we're doing right now is that it is poppy, but there's a lot of ugly notes and stuff thrown in there, and just little moments of of something a little bit meaner, even though it's still overall very poppy. Like Poison Mind has a little bit of a heavy feel to it, even though it's such a pop song.
Yeah, it's yeah, you're right. So you have like this surf, and this pop punk, and then there's definitely like a darker undertone in there throughout the whole thing. I can never really describe you guys to people, because I'm just like, you just gotta listen. Like, it's got this thing, but then it's got this, like, because it's definitely not like when people think of like surf punk or something, like, it's not that,
right?
But it has it, but like Singularity, it has both. You know what I mean? So
sure, yeah. I think it's it's very pop punk, but it's a little bit different. I think in the vocals, the harmonies, and the synth definitely does something different. And then I think there's just a lot of we have a lot of punk and like rock and roll influence that just sneaks in a little bit, that separates it a little bit from regular like pop punk. So it's kind of like we say stuff like punk pop a lot, or stuff like that. So there's lots of little genres you could really duck into, but if you like pop punk, I feel like you can get into it.
I think anybody could. I think this is like a universal kind of sound, you guys. And I think we went in deep about the sound last time, because at that point, I think only the EP was out, and I couldn't stop talking about the sound, So yeah, I think it's this is a strong record, my friend, for a band's like first full length. This is awesome. You did a great job.
Thank you very much. Yeah, the EP I really like. But we really grinded it out as quickly as we could. So the songs were there, but then we didn't really like mess around with them much. We really just recorded them, got them done, and put them out just to start things up. And I think with this album, we certainly went through it very quickly, demoing and recording wise, but I think we just had a little bit more direction about what we wanted to do. And I think from here we'll have even more of a direction, now that we've recorded these other 11 songs and we kind of know which ones we really like and stuff that works really well for us, especially live and everything. It's just interesting, kind of like how the sound sort of presents itself to us over time. I think that's an interesting thing. Once you write enough songs as a band, it's like, then you're like, oh, okay, this is what our band actually sounds like.
Now, it wouldn't be me if I didn't ask this. Is there, because I'm selfish? Is there vinyl coming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yes. So the vinyl. I mean, if you did the pre-order, then the vinyl should probably be shipping right now, or just recently shipped. Okay. If you're part of the Bad Time Record Club, then same thing. You should be getting that probably sometime around. Don't come for me if this isn't true, but I think around the end of August. And it's cool because the Bad Time Record Club gets a really cool variant. It's like a bone white variant, and then everybody else, there's another really cool variant that's like a color, like quote unquote color in color variant. So it's like a nice like blue vinyl color, and then in the middle it's like an orange, so it's very much the fire with the water thing, the Hellbeast thing. Like but yeah. If you follow us on Instagram, you've seen all that stuff. But yes, so the vinyl is already ready to go, ready to ship. Nice.
What's Bad Time Record Club? I don't know that one.
So are you familiar with Bad Time Records?
I'm not actually, no. So
they're a very cool ska punk record label.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the band Kill Lincoln at all?
Yes.
Mike from Kill Lincoln is like the dude at Bad Time Records, and obviously a lot of other people. It's a whole community of people, but Mike is kind of running the show there, and he just puts out really great records, and he does a really good job doing it. Everything they do like on the internet is like very good. They made like a documentary because they did this amazing tour with a bunch of the Bad Time bands, and they filmed everything and they made a documentary. So I think that like just premiered this summer. And so basically they have a record club where you get like all the releases that come out that year. But the reason that we're a part of that is because Mike then went and started Uncle Style Records, which is like a sister label to Bad Time Records. So we're doing stuff with Uncle Style, but it's like an offshoot of Bad Time Records.
Nice.
So there is, I think, an Uncle Style Records like record club, but there's only 4 bands on it, right? There's only 4 bands on the label.
Right.
So he's throwing ours into the Bad Time Record Club, which is actually amazing because like 250 of them
Gone.
are already sold. You know what I mean? And I don't care about them being sold. I care about that like 250 people are going to own
hear
our
your
record.
Yeah,
and that's sick. And they might not even have ever heard of us.
Right.
Because they're like, oh, cool. Here's my ska record for the month, and then it's going to be our record.
Yeah. It's going to be. Whoa, what's this? You know?
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and hopefully they don't, throw it in the trash. But
no, no one's going to throw this one. Trust me. It's
really cool though. It's really cool to be a part of that record club and to be thrown in with like a bunch of other bands that we really like and respect. So very, very nice of Mike to lump us in with the Bad Time Record Club. But yeah, so they have a special variant, and then everybody else gets the other variant. What
are you doing for tour support for this album?
We don't have any tours booked. We're doing what we can because we all work.
Yeah.
We work some kind of conflicting schedules. So most of the time we do like 2 or 3 shows a month.
I should just say show support because doing 2 or 3 shows a month is not bad. You know what I mean? Especially when everyone has to work. Yeah.
But we did. We just would have done on August 11th. We have our release show. So I think if you're hearing this episode, then most likely that just happened.
Yeah.
But so we're doing a release show, or we did a release show at Candia Road in Manchester with some of our friends' bands. And Cool. Besides that, we're doing like, let's see, we have like a couple shows in August. I'm just trying to think of what ones won't have happened when this is out.
Yeah.
We have August 23rd. We're playing in Concord at the Bank of New Hampshire stage. So that's going to be, really soon after the record comes out. And we're booking into September and October. We're playing Fest.
You are. I was going to ask you that, but yeah, okay. I thought I saw something that said that you guys were playing Fest. Yeah, that's awesome.
We're really just getting into the fall and the winter though, so it's like check our Instagram at Hell Beach Band. Anything that we're playing will be on there. But all that stuff's probably about to start filling up.
Cool, awesome. Where can people find you on social media, website? Where can they pick up the record? Do they go to the Bandcamp, or should they go right to the label?
They should go to unclestylerecords.com.
Okay,
that's where you want to order the record. We have some really cool like album exclusive shirts that are on there as well. That's like a Beachworld type of shirt. Our videos you can watch there. So definitely go to unclestylerecords.com. But then when it comes to our social media, we have, like I mentioned, at Hell Beach Band on Instagram. We're on TikTok at hell.beach, facebook.com/hellbeachpunk. We have Bandcamp, so hellbeach.bandcamp.com. And I think that's we're on Twitter too, but I don't the handle I think it's just at Hell Beach Band.
Okay.
So if you really want to keep up, do Instagram at Hell Beach Band on Instagram, because that's where we really post stuff.
But where I only navigate to Instagram now too. So
but if you can follow us on Bandcamp, that actually really helps us a lot. So hellbeach.bandcamp.com, or just go to unclestylerecords.com.
Awesome. Jordan, this was great. Thanks for coming back on and talking with me about Beachworld. Again, congratulations on a banger of an album.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I don't see it leaving my top 5. so
all right, I'm gonna look for that end of the year post.
Yeah, you will. We do one every year. So cool. Again, thanks again for coming on and talking with me. It's always a pleasure. I can't wait to see you perform again.
All right, Trev. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, and that's the show. I want to thank Jordan again for being today's guest on the Struggling Artist Podcast. In the show notes, you will have links to all things Hell Beach. Be sure to go grab this record. It is absolutely amazing. Thank you to Chris Chavez for being producer of the podcast. Thank you to State Line Records for being sponsors of this podcast. And thank you to the band Loser Circle for allowing us to use A Great Illusion of Time off of their album Took Long Enough for the theme song to the podcast. Thank you to everybody over at Patreon supporting us. If you want to become a patron, head to patreon.com/podcast TSA. The tiers are inexpensive. All contributions go to help the podcast grow, help us put on events, and you get a executive producer tag on all events and all projects that we do with the money from the Patreon. Thank you to everybody who supports us, listens to the podcast, shares the podcast, tells a band about the podcast, loves our podcast. If you want to give us some input, you can email me, Trev at thestrugglingartistpodcast.com. Or if you want to talk to my producer, who is Chris Chavez at thestrugglingartistpodcast.com. If you want to leave us a text or a voicemail, the number to call for the hotline, 774-570-1552. Again, you can call it or text it, 774-570-1552. All right, it's time to get out of here with a song. Jordan was nice enough to give us a tune to play off of the new album Beachworld by Hell Beach. If you don't get up and start dancing around to this, then I don't know, man. You're dead inside. We don't want you to be dead inside. We want you to listen, buy the record, and have fun. And shake your bottom, or whatever the kids say nowadays. This song is called Poison Mind. Until next week, take care of yourselves. We'll talk to you then.